Unmasking Narcissistic Men, How to Spot and Stop Their Toxic Traits. Ever feel like you're stuck in a maze of mixed signals? Maybe you're in a relationship where you feel unseen and unheard. You're always walking on eggshells, never quite sure when you'll set off a bomb. You question yourself. Am I overreacting, or is something wrong with me? If you're dealing with a narcissistic man, you're not going crazy. You're experiencing the aftermath of an ego gone supernova, and understanding the warning signs of narcissism is your compass out of this emotional maze. So what exactly is a narcissistic man? They're not all bad, like a villain in a movie. But understand this, narcissistic traits aren't just a character flaw, they're a potential deal breaker. The DSM-5 tells us narcissism exists on a spectrum, from normal confidence to full-blown disorder. So how do you tell the difference? I'm breaking down the key signs to help you recognize them. But before we dive in, remember, this video is meant to shed light, not cast judgment. If you notice these signs in yourself or someone you know that understanding is the first step to change. And if you spot these red flags in someone you're close to, tread carefully. Some of these men might be charming and influential, making it harder to recognize the danger. That's why it's essential to keep your guard up. Don't be swayed by their charisma or status. Your intuition is your most powerful tool. If something feels off, it probably is. Stay tuned and learn how to protect yourself from these complex personalities. Your journey towards a healthier, safer relationship starts now. No one grandiose sense of self-importance. First things first. Narcissistic men walk around believing they're the kings of the hill. They exaggerate their achievements and expect to be treated like royalty without doing the work. Ever met that guy who boasts about being a ladies' man but can't keep a relationship going past 6 months? Or someone who talks a big game about their success but can't show any proof? Well, these men are experts at spinning ordinary events into epic sagas, turning themselves into the heroes of every story. They live in a world where they're special, superior, and always entitled to the best, whether they've actually earned it or not. No. 2. Daydreams of greatness. Narcissists aren't just stuck in the present. They're also lost in their own fantasy worlds. They spend a lot of time daydreaming about achieving greatness, having the perfect family, or finding the ultimate success. They talk about these dreams a lot, but they rarely take any steps to make them come true. For instance, a narcissistic man might spend hours talking about how he's going to become a millionaire someday, but he's never willing to put in the work required to build a business. He'd rather just daydream about it. It's like they have their sights set on the stars, but they're not willing to lift their feet off the ground. No. 3. Constant need for admiration. Next up, they're like emotional vampires who feed off compliments and attention. Narcissistic men need praise and admiration constantly, and they can get angry or sullen when they don't get it. They crave validation like oxygen, and they expect it without even trying to earn it. It's almost like they think the world owes them the best, and they want everyone to know it. For example, a narcissistic man might post shirtless selfies on social media just to receive compliments on his body, and he'll get really upset if he doesn't get the response he's looking for. Number 4. Sense of entitlement. Now let's talk about entitlement. Narcissistic men believe they're entitled to special treatment, and they expect others to cater to their needs without question. They have a sense of superiority that makes them think they're above everyone else, and they don't want to follow the same rules as ordinary people. These guys think they're special and they want the world to treat them that way. It's like they have a secret VIP pass that lets them cut in line and demand whatever they want. For instance, a narcissistic man might barge into a restaurant and demand to be seated at the best table without realizing there's a reason it's not already reserved. They have zero tolerance for waiting or missing out. No. 5. Exploiting others. Moving along, we have exploitation. Narcissistic men see people as pawns in their game, and they use others to achieve their own goals without caring about how it affects those around them. They're selfish and manipulative, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get what they want. For example, a narcissistic man might befriend a coworker just to climb the corporate ladder, and then ghost them as soon as they no longer need them. It's all about using people for personal gain. Lack of empathy. One of the most telling signs is a lack of empathy. Narcissistic men struggle to understand or care about the feelings of others, and they often dismiss or ignore people's emotions, as if they don't exist. It's like they have blinders on, focusing only on themselves and their own needs. They can't see beyond their own perspective, which makes it impossible for them to connect with others on an emotional level. Imagine a narcissistic man coming home late from a night out and not caring that he kept his partner waiting for hours without a word. They just don't get why someone would be upset about it. Number 7. Envy and arrogance. These two traits often go hand in hand for narcissistic men. They're either envious of others, or they think others are envious of them. This creates a constant sense of smugness and arrogance that makes them believe they're better than everyone else. They're like the kid who always thinks they're smarter or cooler than everyone else, and they'll do anything to prove it. For instance, a narcissistic man might sneer at a colleague's promotion and say something snarky like, "Oh, they probably just needed someone to carry their coffee." Day-to-day clues. Spotting narcissism in action. Now that we've covered the main traits, let's look at some common behaviors that can clue you into a narcissistic man's mindset. Number 1. Conversation hijacking. Narcissistic men have a knack for steering conversations back to themselves no matter what the topic is. They dominate discussions and leave little room for anyone else to share their thoughts or experiences. It's like they have a radar for self-promotion, and they'll snatch the spotlight from anyone who dares to shine. Meltdowns over criticism. Getting feedback or constructive criticism is like poking a bear with a narcissist. They hate it and they'll lash out or shut down. They can't handle any negativity or perceived flaws because it threatens their fragile ego. It's almost as if they're terrified of being reminded that they're not perfect. No. 3. Stealing credit and avoiding blame. Success is for suckers, right? Narcissistic men hog all the credit for team projects and slap the blame on others when things go awry. They're like the schoolyard bully who takes all the toys and blames others for the mess. It's a classic power play. Number 4. Weaponizing charm. Narcissistic men can turn on the charm when it's convenient. They're like social chameleons who adapt their behavior to get what they want, whether it's winning over a new client or manipulating a romantic partner. But once they've got what they need, their true colors show, and they discard those relationships like yesterday's news. No. 5. The roller coaster of a relationship. Relationships with narcissistic men are like a roller coaster with twists and turns that leave you breathless and confused. 5.1. Idealization. The honeymoon phase. At first, they shower you with attention, compliments, and affection, making you feel like you've hit the jackpot. They're charming and charismatic, and you can't help but fall under their spell. But this phase is just the tip of the iceberg, a clever tactic to reel you in. 5.2. Devaluation. The crash. Once they've got you hooked, their true colors emerge. You're constantly criticized and devalued, made to feel like you're not good enough. They compare you to others and use guilt-tripping to control you. All those compliments turn into harsh judgments, and the roller coaster plummets to the depths of despair. Discard. The end of the ride. When you no longer serve their purpose, they toss you aside like a worn-out toy. The highs were intoxicating, but the lows leave you questioning your worth. Narcissistic men may even ghost you, cutting off all contact abruptly and leaving you confused and heartbroken. No. 6. Manipulation through gaslighting. Gaslighting is a common tactic used by narcissistic men to keep you off balance and dependent on them. They deny their mistakes, twist the truth, and make you question your own reality. They'll say things like, "You're too sensitive," or "That never happened," until you start doubting your own memory and judgment. When narcissism collides with confidence, it's important to remember that not every confident guy is a narcissist, and that's super important to remember. Healthy confidence is all about lifting others up and chasing success together. On the flip side, narcissism just drags people down to feed its own ego, so don't mix them up. If this video hit home for you, go ahead and smash that like button and share it. Seriously, it makes a huge difference. Don't keep those good vibes to yourself. Share them with your friends so they can feel inspired too. Let's spread the word. Next time, I'm diving deep into the hidden world of narcissistic women and masking their subtle social sabotage and chilling maternal manipulation. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.